I enjoy talking to users. What I don't like is having to remember every single detail. Thankfully, we have AI that can help us do all of that. Here's a good example. This is an application that I vibe coded in Replit and is going to be free for you to remix on Replit as well. It's ThreadFinder, an easy way for you to mine your customer interviews for insights. It wraps around a Notion database, gives you a nice UI, a nice chat interface here to talk with your interview transcripts, and surfaces insights that might take you a while to find on your own. Let's start a new conversation here. And let's say that I want to know who's been asking about auto scaling issues. This is for a fictional AI infrastructure company. So I want to think about who has been mentioning auto scaling issues in their interviews with me. I can put that into my chat interface here, and I can see that I have Quinn, Alex, Peyton, all talking about auto scaling. Okay, well, maybe I want a refresher on my conversation with Peyton. So I can say, grab this and say, more details here, and just drop that in and have my AI, again, mine that conversation with Peyton and give me some more information on this. I also have sources for all of these conversations. So the AI is looking through certain documentation, and in order to make the responses more relevant and also to avoid hallucinations, it's referencing particular documents in the store that I have for the AI. So here is my refresher on my conversation with Peyton. And I see that he's head of customer experience at Shop Vista, areas of focus, a nice summary, and a recap on future opportunities. But I want to see where this came from. So I can click on the source citation, and it's going to take me to the conversation with Peyton. Here I can see some of the details of that conversation. I can also search the transcript. So if I want to search for auto scaling, I can do that, scroll through this and see exactly where in the conversation this was mentioned. If I want to go back to the item in the Notion database, I can click here, and it's going to take me to exactly where that lives in the database. And I can continue to modify this as I want. If I want to add more notes here on Peyton, I can do that as well and save that to the Notion database. The really cool thing here is that it's all synced to this Notion database. I have transcripts for all of these different conversations. And so this is getting pulled into reference for when that LLM goes to answer my question. If I add any new interviews, I can just go here to sync with my Notion and sync now and have all of the information synced up again. If I go back here to interviews and I want to search for certain conversations, maybe I want to think about who's a compliance lead in my data, who's been talking about cost, I can sort that quickly and quickly jump into this conversation. That's ThreadFinder in a nutshell, an easy way for you to mine your conversations with AI and also keep it all in Notion. As I mentioned, the cool thing about this is that you can make it your own and you can remix this on Replit. Head over to the template URL, hit on remix this application, call it whatever you want, and kick off that remix. Replit is going to start porting in all of the files, and it's going to ask us to input a couple of secrets. You're going to have to put in an OpenAI key, a Notion API key, and a Notion database ID. I have those handy here, so I'm going to just drop these in for now to get the remix process going, but in a moment, I'm going to walk you through how to get each one of these items to help streamline this for you. So I'm going to add that secret, add that secret, add that secret. Then I'm going to go back to agent and I'm going to drop in this prompt that's going to say, hey, like there are instructions in this markdown file, agent setup guide. Just follow those instructions and help me set up this template. The agent is going to work on that. In the meantime, let me show you where to get those API keys. Head over to the README file here and scroll down to step 1. And we're going to want to get our OpenAI key. This is going to be for the LLM chat functionality, but also for the context that's being provided to that functionality. What's happening is when that data comes into the application, it's being sent over to a vector store in OpenAI, then that is going to be queried when there is a chat requests from the user. So in order to enable the chat and also the context, you need to set up OpenAI to do that. So we go to new projects. I always like to create a new project just to keep everything clean. Create that. Then head over to dashboard, API keys, and create a new API key. Create that. So you're going to copy this. Never show anyone your API keys. I'm going to delete this after this video, so I don't have to worry about that. But again, never show your API keys or never expose your API keys. The next thing that we have to do is to grab a Notion integration secret. So you can go to the integrations page for Notion, create a new integration, call it something that you want here, ThreadFinder test 3. And then we pick our workspace, internal is fine, and then we go to save. Then we're going to go to the integration settings, and we're going to just give it read access. In general, best practice is to give an API only the necessary rights that it needs. So in this case, I just need my app to read from a Notion database. I don't need it to update content. I don't need it to write to the database. So I'm going to follow best practices here and just keep this as read content. And then I can show this key, copy this, put this somewhere safe, and then we're going to be ready to reference it. The next thing that we want to do is we want to create a copy of the synthetic data set that I put together for you to be able to run this. So this is a publicly available Notion database. So you just go here, duplicate, and you can put a copy in your workspace. It's going to take just a moment to get that ready. Now I can see the template. Now this is in my particular workspace. And so now that I have this, now I want my Replit application to point to this. And so I'm going to grab this database ID. So it's right here. So right after your username, it's this number here before the question mark sign. You're going to grab this, copy this, and then again, put this somewhere safe. Now you have a copy of your database and you have your Notion integration set up. Now you have to give access to the integration to this particular database. So you're going to go to the 3 dots, head over to connections, and you're going to search for that integration that you set up by name. So remember, I called it ThreadFinder test.3. It's here. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say confirm, and then we're all set. Now our application will be able to read from this database. And so those are all the details that I put in to the secrets pane on Replit to get this going. All right, so now let's check in here on my copy here of the application. So you can see what agent did to set up the database, made sure that the API keys work okay, and now has it up and running. So this is what you should see now. If you want to get a preview of this, you can click on that. And now this is your application, new chat. It should be pulling in the information from your database that you copied over. Perfect. This is great. I actually like this because I miss an important step here. So we set everything up, but we haven't had the application vectorize our conversations and put them in the OpenAI vector store. So for that, we're going to go here and we're going to click on sync now. So now it's going to look for that database and it's going to port that in. Okay, now that sync ran, and if you go back to interviews, you should see all of the 16 conversations that we have from the database. And if I go back to chat and do a new chat, try that again, now the vector store should be set up, and so now it should be ready to answer this question around latency issues. So drum roll, please. Boom, and there it is. So there's the information that we were looking for, and again, click on citations, takes you to the conversation. We can search for different details that we care about and read up on that. I hope you enjoy the application. I hope you remix it and try to make it your own. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on X, and happy building.